Hey. I'm not sure if it's visible on the camera, but it really looks impressive here. Wherever the staff here tells us to. So this ticket is for the car, to take the car on board. And here is for two adults. The sun is out, it's gonna be a really nice day, so I look forward to it. Yeah, you have lots of people basically arriving relatively early or during the night in Croatia because they want to get to the islands very early. And basically you have ferries to so many islands, so basically everything kind of gets stuck here with the traffic when all the people try to get down to the ferry port at the same time. So when you're calculating how much time you need to drive here, keep in mind that the last kilometer or so might go very slow due to the number of cars. I think every year it's around 6 million people travel from Split Port with the ferries, fast ferries, car ferries, etc. And I think more than 1 million vehicles also. The whole tourist season where a lot of people are going on the island to take vacation, but also you have just the regular traffic of people from the island going to work in Split, and you have all the trucks and goods which needs to be transported to the island. So I mean the ferries and the ferry connection are very essential for island life. This is usually the worst part where we're driving now.
Yeah. You have
although there's two lanes, but they basically go into one, and then basically everything is a bit chaotic here. So now we are basically in the center. On the right side here of me, we have the main Greek market, also called the Pasar. And basically what you see in front of us, where you have the orange car going in, this is basically the main promenade which is in there. So, and you can see already when I turn here, we have the ferry port in front of us. So very, very central everything. And here you see some signs where you can see where the different ferries departure. This is mainly information for the car ferries. All the foot passenger ferries are down in the area where we are driving now, the one which are closest to the seaside promenade. So if you are traveling to places like Bol, Var, then the fast ferries will be parked down or moored down in this end, whereas the car ferries are basically up in the further end of the far end of the ferry port. You have two digital displays where basically you can see all the next upcoming departure, and then you have the signs and these digital displays. I don't know if it's visible on the camera, probably will be blurry, but it will basically show you now we are going to Supetar, so it basically tells me straight and then right. And another one here, so there's a pretty good guiding. Meanwhile, there's another sign here, so it's really hard to mistake it. Well, first in line. Does that mean that we are gonna get first on the ferry? Or they will probably start with the other lines first because they were here prior to us. I mean, most cases I buy tickets online, but I thought today I was gonna show you where to buy a ticket if you're traveling with a car ferry. This does not only apply to taking the ferry we are taking today to Supetar on Island Barge. It's also basically applied for any car ferry from Split. The same ferry company is selling them, that's Jadrolinja, and they have their ticket office in here, so I thought we should go in there and basically buy a ticket so you basically know that part. There's one exception just before somebody comes with a comment. There's an Italian company running in the summer which has ferries to Ancona in Italy, but besides that one, all car ferries are Jadrolinja. So let's go into the building and see if they want to sell us a ticket. So basically this is the terminal building. It's a bit older one, but it still serves the purpose. You can go and buy a ticket, and it has various amenities inside. There's a coffee bar, there's a supermarket, of course toilets and these kind of things. And big signs saying where to get the tickets, so it should be obvious. And you see with signs you can see where to buy for fast ferries, international lines or the local lines. We are now going to take the local lines. Valavampunu. Actually, I got 3 tickets. So this ticket is for the car, to take the car on board. And here is for 2 adults. So the thing is, when you buy the tickets here on the ferry port, you of course can separate these 3 any way you want. So basically, as we are 2 adults, one of us can walk on board and basically go up to the cabin area and pick a nice seat. If it's a hot summer day, you want to sit in the cabin and there's lots of people, and you do this basically because I would recommend you doing this, basically separate the ticket and have 1 or 2 persons go on board the ferry. Why? Because foot passengers are the first who gets on the ferry. So you can go up and pick the seats, and then whoever's driving the car has time to park it and come up, and there's a seat for that person also. So I think that's a good way of doing it. If you buy it online, you basically can do the same, but it means you need to do 2 transactions. First buy ticket for the driver and the car, and then buy for the remaining people, the ones who are going to walk on. So just keep that in mind. Foot passengers are now allowed to go on board. So, and we are basically half an hour before the scheduled departure time. So it makes a difference whether you go on board with a car or as a foot passenger in terms of getting up to the cabin or getting up to the outside area and pick the spot which you would like to sit in. So green light for me. There was 10 lines left of me which were already here, so this kind of gives you an indication, when to be on the port. I think officially they state 40 minutes, 30-40 minutes for the car ferries. It's of course less if it's the passenger only ferries, but this kind of underlines why you need to be here that early. And Split Subitar, because there's so many departures, is one of the departures where your ticket is not valid for a specific departure time, but basically you can board the next available ferry. One example is Split Stardigrad on Var or Split to Vis. The ferry is running there. Basically, when you buy a ticket for 11 o'clock, you need to take the ferry at 11 o'clock. You can't just be late and then use the ticket for another one. You can see there's already quite a few cars, and they are now guiding me to go on the upper level. And now we have somebody in front of me who has an issue with driving the car. I hope they're not gonna come rolling down again. Now I have to reverse. So now he's actually lifting the ramp for the car to go up there. Okay, that's a new thing. We have to go wherever the staff here tells us to. Okay, I packed light, so no issue. Oh fuck. Oh, sorry. I need to go close to the fence, which is a bit complicated. No space at all. Anyway, I will try now to see if I can manage to get out of the vehicle, hopefully. See you in a bit. So it's 9 in the morning and we are supposed to leave the port in Split. I think we are very close to him leaving the berth here. So, and when I'm sailing here or taking a ferry here from Split, especially the car ferries, I always like to be outside. I love looking at the port when we are leaving it. because of course we're going with the car. I can't look at it when we arrive, as I'm sitting down on the car deck waiting for them to moor the boat so I can get out with the car. So there we have it. Promenade in Split. You see the tower of the cathedral, which is basically the center of the palace, the UNESCO protected palace. And where you see all the palms in front of me, that's basically where you will sit and have a coffee. And out this end we have a marina, if you are gonna go sailing. I'm not sure if it's visible on the camera, but it really looks impressive here. Really holiday vibes. And now we are basically out of the port. So the sailing trip today is going to be, it takes 50 minutes to take the ferry from Split to Subotar. And it's really an enjoyable trip. And in the winter season you have 10 departures a day, so really well connected, and in the summer I think up to 15, and I think even if there's really much pressure on, they would also sail off schedule as soon as they fill the car with a ferry with cars, they would simply take off. At least I know they used to do that, and maybe today they are not allowed, but yeah. As I said, with 15 departures, your max waiting time is maybe half an hour, 40 minutes or something like that during the day at least. So the island you see out here in front, that's island Chiovo, and the island you see over here behind, that's island Scholta, and the island we see in front of the ship, that's Brač, where we're going. Soon we will have the main new beach in Split called Snjaren will be ready, which I think everybody living in Split really look forward to. We're just gonna take a round down to the cabin. You can see you can also have dogs. Of course they need to be on a leash and they need to be well behaved. And down here in the indoor cabin you of course have toilets. You have a coffee bar, as you see here. Relatively expensive, I would say, but you can get coffee, refreshments, water, ice cream, some snacks. And here we have another dog outside. Hey! Hi, Marlo. Dobro.
So, what did you do in the meantime?
Well, I went around, just took a look at the cabin downstairs so that we can show people how it looks inside the cabin, but I simply prefer to sit outside here, especially when we're on a day like today with sunny weather, of course. Now we don't have really summer season 35 temperatures. So now it's really nice if you travel on it in the summer. I've done that several times in the middle of the peak season. It's really warm up here, and if you have kids or people who don't, like me, Scandinavian person who's not too good with strong suns, remember to take a cap or remember to put some sunscreen on, because you are actually going to get burned from a 50-minute ferry trip if you sit out in the sun here. So it's something to keep in mind. Yeah, so maybe there's a few information I forgot to mention. One of them is, of course, we left the car, but you can actually get to the car while you are sailing. So if you should have forgotten your sandwich or whatever you bring, you can just go down and pick it up. And Another thing is also I wanted to tell you about the prices. Now we are off season and we are 2 persons and a car, and we paid 27 euros, so really reasonable. If you're traveling in the main season, I think it would be around about 10 euro more for the same group. Anyway, all the information I'm gonna put on my website, all the details and everything which I forgot to say, it will be on the website, so just go and check that one out. I think this is that Milna or is that Sudivan?
I think Sudivan. Yeah.
Sudivan, yeah. So if you're traveling on this ferry as a foot passenger, and when we get to Supetar, you have several options if you need to go any other place on the island. There's of course a lot of taxis parked exactly where you would get out of the ferry. Lots of them would stand with a sign, or they will try to basically convince you to take a taxi. But if you want to travel on a budget, you basically just have to walk, I think maybe 300 meters from where you get off the ferry, and then there's a small bus station in Supetar. And from that one you have one bus company on the island, which is called Arriva. And they have buses to places like Bol, Splitska, Pusistia, Povlia, Sumartin, Milna. So basically you can get anywhere on the island from the bus station in Supetar, and it's really cheap. So that's definitely an option to consider if you're traveling alone and don't want to spend the money it costs to take a taxi. And of course, maybe also another thing to mention, you will see that when we get off, but you are basically, the port is the center of Supetar. So if you want to enjoy a lunch, if you want to sit for a coffee, it's a few meters walk from where the ferry ends. So very easy and enjoyable.
Samo da ne napravi koronu, probat ćemo svako. So here you see all the cars driving off the ferry. And as I'm on the upper level, it will take a little bit before I would actually be allowed to get out. But quite full ferry, considering the time of the year. Now I found where I had to go down. So let's see if I can find my car. As you see here, I'm parked on the upper level, and a reason to be on diet before holiday is the amount of space I'm actually going to go in from the passenger side. So see you in a bit. Oopsie doopsie. Oh, it was better going down the grey car in front of me than when we went up. It's a bit steep here, but it's okay. So now we are basically arriving at the port in Supatar. You see all the people waiting to board the ferry as foot passengers. And here to the right of me, you can't see it on the camera, but there's a lot of taxis. And as I mentioned before, a little bit further straight here, you have the bus station. And to the right is the main center of the city when you get off the ferry here, where you can go for a coffee, have a nice lunch, these things. So everything really nearby here. So that basically concludes our trip with the ferry from Split to Supatar. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and basically it gave you an idea if this is a ferry you're going to take, and how, if you're going to take it, how it's going to be. So we now made it to Supatar. I hope you enjoyed the ferry ride from Split to Supatar. Please give the video a like, subscribe to our channel if you like our content, and then basically till the next one. And as you see behind me, I told you on the way there's nice beaches in Supatar, and we found one next to the ferry port.